discuss about the flight planning for aerial photography, right? We know that aerial photography is taken from a flight which is moving over the area with help of a camera which is attached at the bottom of the aeroplane. Now, if you want to survey for some area, how you are going to plan your photography with help of a flight? Okay, so that's those things we are going to discuss in this today's class, right? So first we are going to see that when a vertical photographs are to be used for the preparation of a maps, all the methods of compilation requires that plumb points of the preceding and succeeding points are visible in the each photography, right? So in each photography, the things has to be visible, right? Otherwise, you can't able to add all the photos so that if you are going to form the map, right? So map cannot be built with a single photo, but it will have so many numbers, right? So if you are having this many area, you can't take. If it is small area, you can take from the flight. But if it is a big area, you can't able to take whole area with a single photography. Okay, so you can take, but the scale will be very high, right? So you can't able to see each and every detail in detail if you taking from long height, right? So that's why this area will be taken all with all small photographs like this, right? So then it will be added in the lab office, right? So that we are going to create the whole map like this, right? So now if you want, you need to know the things, right, in the each and every photograph, so that you need to add after the taking thing, right? So for that we need to know the what is called plumb points of preceding and succeeding print, right? So you have in this photo, if this is the one photograph, right? So in the next photograph, some part has to be taken, right? So that we can join that again like this. Okay? Even for sides also you have to know some area, right? Then only you can add the things. That's why the plumb points should be visible in each and every photograph, so that you can add like this, so that you are going to form the big map. Otherwise, it will create much confusion, right? So photographs taken at the proper interval along each strip to give the desired overlap of a photograph. You need to have some overlap, right? So longitudinal overlap, side overlap should be there. Then only we are going to add the things, right? So in the given strip, each strip is spaced at predetermined distance to ensure the desired side lap between the adjacent strips, right? So we have to have some overlap. Then only we can add each photograph one on each other, so that we are going to create big map. Okay? So the overlap of photographs in the direction of flight line is called longitudinal overlap. That means if flight is moving like this, right? So the overlap is there along with this direction of flight. Okay, so this overlap is called as the longitudinal overlap or forward overlap, or simply it is called a overlap. Along a given flight line, the photographs are taken such frequency to cause successive photographs overlap each other by 55 to 65%. We have to have this longitudinal overlap to get exact and correct for map, right? And also there will be an overlap between adjacent flight lines is known as the lateral overlap. That means if you have, again flight will come back, no. So then number of photos will become like this again. Next flight, right? So next returning. Even also from this point to this point, then overlap is there. Okay, so that is called lateral overlap or side lap. Okay, so the side lap amount to be about 15 to 35%. That is called, okay, longitudinal will be 55 to 65, side will be 15 to 35%, right? So the number of individual photographs required to cover any video increases with the increase in the overlap. If you increase the overlap, so the number of photographs to be taken is going to increase, as well as the side lap also. Okay, thus the increasing the amounts of work both in the field as well as in the office. Due to that, okay, so office work and field work will be increased more, right? So now we can here see, okay, the first photograph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is taken one line. Then flight come back and it took 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 taken. Okay, so the first photograph of some area is matching overlap with the second should be there in the third should be some part will be there in the fourth some part will be there in the 5, so that while arranging the photos, so you can have this overlap, so that you can have the exact position. And also this is called longitudinal overlap. Then same thing, if you want to arrange with sides, no, so 1, 12, 2, 11, 3, 10, 4, 9, 5, 8, 6, 7. These photographs have some overlap. It is shown in the dotted line, no? So that will be, he told that 20 to 40%. That is lateral overlap, and longitudinal overlap it should be 60, right? So here you can see flight is taking a photograph. First photograph is taken here. Second photograph. This area will be the overlap. Then third two is having this overlap. Four third and having this overlap. This overlap should be there so that we can easily arrange the things, right? So this is side overlap as well as the longitudinal overlap. We can understand in this from this figure, right? Next, selection of flying altitude. At what altitude you want to fly with help of a aeroplane to take the photographs? How we are going to decide that, right? So depending upon the accuracy of the process to be used, the contour interval is decided, right? So the contour interval means at what height you are going to take in, okay? The flying it is often is related to the contour interval of the finished map. Okay, what is your contour interval, right? So it is a big interval, no? So you can go very fastly. Then if you want to see very less contour interval, very small areas, no? You have to come down, right? You have to come down and see each and every vertical height. Okay, so the process is rated by its C factor. Okay, this process is mainly based on the C factor, which is the number by which the contour interval is multiplied to with the maximum height about the ground. From the ground, what is the maximum height we are going to decide based on the C factor. So flying height is will be equals to what is the contour we want to decide. So that contour interval multiplied by the C factor. Okay, C factor varies from 500 to 1500 and it depends upon the conditions surrounding the entire map and compilation operation. Okay, based on this we are going to determine the flying height. Next, number of photographs to be necessary to cover a given area, right? So the number of photographs required is calculated by the dividing the total area to be photographed by the neat area covered by the single photograph, right? So this, right? So for total area to be photographed with how many you want to know. So we have to write what is the total area, right? Total area is, suppose I want to take total area of 400 km square area, but with one photograph I can take 2 km square area, right? So this is the area covered by single photograph. This is the area to be served, right? Total covered, right? So that we will get how many? 200 number of photographs to be taken. So that is the thing. Number of photographs required is calculated by dividing the total area is 400 km square. For say, for example, to be the photographed by the neat, right, area covered by the single photograph. What is the single photograph? Is 2 km area. Total I need to cover 400 kilometers. That's why 200 is the number of photographs required. Okay. Now here you can see A is the total area to be photographed, and L is the length of the photograph in the direction of flight. So W is the width of the photograph normal to the direction of the flight. S is the scale and L is the net ground distance corresponding to L. W is the net ground distance corresponding to the W. Like lateral and width length. Okay, both are there. S is the scale. So based on this, how we are going to take now? A is the net ground area covered by the each photograph, that is L into W, that is actual distance on the ground. Okay. Next, P1 is the percentage of overlap between successive photographs. That's what longitudinal overlap. Okay. PW is the side length. So since each photograph has a longitudinal lap of PL and the actual ground length is L, covered by each photograph is given by capital L is equals to 1 minus PL into S into L, and as well as the actual ground width W is covered by each photograph is given by capital W is equals to 1 minus PW into SW. Now we can substitute in the equation the ground area A is covered by each photograph will be given as small a is equal to L into W. So you substitute L and W from the previous equations. So that will be 1 minus PL into SL into 1 minus PW into SW. Okay. So now we can take common of LW, S square will be there. 1 minus P into 1 minus PL into 1 minus PW. Then the number of photographs to be required is equals to N is equals to A by A. That's what in the example I told now. 400 kilometers square divided by 2 kilometers square. Yeah, so this calculated from this equation. Then we can say the thing. Okay, so now to compute the flight plan. Okay, so what are the things we need required for the concentration of the quantities for the flight plan? The following data is required. If you want to know the flight plan, where you need to start, where you need to end. Okay, so to decide that, what are the different data we require, you can see here. First of all, we need to know focal length of the camera lens. What is your focal length? Okay, next, altitude of the flight, that means what height you are going to take the reading. Next, size of the area to be photographed, is it less area or big area or some more area, how much you want to photograph. Then size of the photograph, what is the size of each photograph, what is the longitudinal overlap, lateral overlap, and position of the outer flight lines with respect to the boundary of the area. Then what is the scale of the flight plan, and what is the ground speed of the aircraft. Based on all these things, we are going to decide your flight plan. Okay, so these things we have to keep in mind. Okay, next, ground control for photogrammetry, right? So how we are going to control, right? So the ground control survey consisting in the locating the ground positions of points which can be identified on a aerial photograph, right? So if you want to survey some area of land, piece of land, you want to locate some control points, so that if you taken photographs from the top, you have to identify that which point is there, which thing, right? We have reference points on the ground, so that thing is called ground control survey. Okay, so it is a consist of locating the ground positions of a points which can be identified on a aerial photograph. You need to identify in the photo what is taken from the aeroplane, you have to note down, right? So the ground control is essentially for establishing position orientation of each photograph in the space relative to the ground, right? So relative to the ground, we have to locate that. The extent of this ground control required is determined by the scale of the map. Okay, what is our scale? Then what is the navigational control and cartographical process by which maps will be reproduced. Okay, so on which process these things will be determined first. Okay, so the ground survey for establishing the control can be divided into two parts. One is basic control, another one is photo control, right? So let us see about first thing. Basic control is consist in establishing the basic network of triangulation stations, traverse stations. Okay, regarding triangulation survey we will discuss in the next class, right? So traverse station, azimuth marks, benchmarks. Okay, so those things you have to have the basics one. Next, coming to the photo control, it consists of a establishing of horizontal positions or elevations of the images of some of the identified points on the photograph with respect to the basic control. With respect to basic control, we have control in the photograph. Okay, so to locate some image, some object in the thing. Okay, we want to know horizontal position or a elevation, height of a object in the case of photo control, right? So this is all about aerial flight planning for the aerial photogrammetry. Thank you.